welcome back to another episode of God Built This Podcast. I'm your host, Maxine. I'm on episode 228. So, as you guys know, it is Black History Month, and an event took place that was maybe against Black history. In my opinion, I feel like it's spot on, and I don't see the offense. Okay? So, recently at a middle school in New York, chicken and waffle and watermelon were served to students at this middle school in New York. And students and parents are complaining about this ill-timed, so this is a quote, an ill-timed and culturally insensitive menu choice. Okay. Now, would it have been better to receive chicken and waffles and the side of watermelon on, March, in March or, January? Like, is it just not Black History Month that meal is acceptable in? Like, when is it not racist? And I just feel like I think sometimes we get so sensitive about what the optics are, when in reality, I'm sure these kids would have loved to eat chicken and waffles for lunch. I'm sure they would have loved to have indulged in some chicken. And, what was lunch today? You had chicken and waffles? Maybe the watermelon's a little bit of a stretch. Maybe, because who's eating watermelon in New York during this season? It's probably not the best watermelon pickings. But the chicken and waffle, come on. Come on. I think sometimes, though, yes, there are times when, like, for example, those H&M ads that will come out once a year, and you have the Black kids looking crazy, wearing clearly stereotypical tropes on the sweatshirt that they're modeling in. I think that is definitely an example of insensitive racial advertisements done on a public big platform. But in cases like this, in which I feel like it may not be always this malintentioned situation, I think genuinely maybe the cafeteria administration may have received feedback from students and whomever requesting for more tasty and fun menu choices, and they figure chicken and waffles may be the best bet. Like, had they got Alfredo and shrimp, they would have been mad because, why would you bring this Italian tradition meal to the table during Black History Month? You're being insensitive to Black history. So now that I am actually feeding you a common Black dish, such as chicken and waffle, now it's a problem. I think the watermelon, come on. I draw the line there. I love watermelon, don't get me wrong, but I think in New York, watermelon during this season is not the best pickings of watermelon. So that right there was unneeded. But as far as the chicken and waffle, I think that is fine. Give me some fucking syrup too. Like, what's going on? So the food industry who's in charge of it is called Aramark, and it apologizes after serving chicken and waffles during Black History Month. This was something I feel like was not that much of a big deal. Let me read this part. So the credit for establishing what we now know as Black, we know that, yada, yada, yada. So, Black History Month got off to a disappointing and controversial start at Nyack Middle School in New York, about 25 miles from New York City, when pupils arrived in the cafeteria to find chicken and waffles on the menu with watermelon for dessert. School leaders in Aramark, the school's food service provider, issued an apology after students and parents complained about the ill-timed and culturally insensitive menu choices. Now, with this dish, it carries an association of enslaved people or people who were enslaved. You know, we're moving away from, oh, slaves, oh, those were slaves. Instead, we're saying now people who were enslaved. Because if you notice with language, we don't like to anymore define people by the circumstance that they have been given in life. So, for example, when you think of like people with special needs, before this switch in language happened, it was easily stated, oh, this special needs person. And that made it seem as if that person was only special needs, as if that person has nothing else to offer in the world. That's the only identity that they have. And instead, we've changed the language to person with special needs because it allows the person to have the identity that they have, the complex dual identity, the dualities that they carry, instead of just being, pigeonholed into just one thing. So just a little background on that. So I do like that switch in language. The only few things that I do like when it comes to like wokeism, I do like that we're not defined by the circumstances that we are, and it shows in that specific example when it comes to like, someone with disabilities. Instead of saying special needs, you say someone with special needs. So same for in a slave. Instead of saying slaves, we are now saying people who were enslaved. So I think that's pretty cool. That's the only thing I do like about wokeism now. That's the only thing I can think of right now. But anyway, so people who are enslaved were heavily associated with this particular dish of waffles and chicken. And so they find this to be, quote, inexcusably insensitive. And the menu for February 1st was supposed to be a Philly cheesesteak with sides of broccoli and fresh fruits, but it was apparently changed without the district's knowledge. Now, why would there be a Philly cheesesteak menu option during Black History? You know what I mean? Like, my thing is, during Black History Month, I would think if the school is doing specific dishes for certain events, why wouldn't you have a dish or a couple of dishes that is specific to Black culture? So chicken and waffles, mac and cheese, what else? Cornbread. Like, why can't that be shown and eaten at a school cafeteria as reverence to Black History Month? Now, again, the watermelon, that's a bit too far. But everything else, I just feel like I know for sure students at my school I would have been at the cafeteria myself. Like, excuse me, yeah, I'm the teacher, I'll go first. Like, I would have been there first talking about, yes, I'll have 2 of those and give me 1 more waffle. Like, I would have done more. Like, and I just don't see what the big deal is. We're being so sensitive that we're calling everything insensitive, which is ridiculous. So God bless. I definitely disagree with this being called something that's ill-timed. I think it's perfectly timed. The best time to eat chicken and waffles in reverence to history will be in it, like it would be in February. It would be specific to February because it's Black History Month. Every time I'm in Black History, every time I'm in February, I always forget that, dang, this is really the shortest month ever. And not just like literally, but I'm also talking about work wise. Like, there are more days off that I experience in February than I do any other month, really, outside of the summer months. But yeah, February is the month in which I have more opportunities off. So that's great, but it's also interesting. Okay, let's move forward. I want to circle back to the Grammys and really speak to the queer agenda that's taking place. I know I'm pissing some people off, and I just don't want to let up. I don't want to let up, and I'm not going to let up because I'm calling shit out for what they are. And if it makes you uncomfortable, then swallow a pill. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that we should stop talking about because, well, everyone, and I've gotten like, not like, I don't know, but I've had a conversation recently in which the word respect is used to kind of settle some things. Like, just make sure, we give everyone respect. And it's like, the thing about the word respect to me is we could still respect each other, right? I could respect you as a human being. I could respect your humanity and your space, right? I'm not declaring for war against you. I'm not declaring for you to be killed because you live a certain way that I don't agree with. Like, what? Like, I really don't care about what you do outside of me. Like, I really don't give a damn. And so when I state my opinions about certain topics, specifically to queer, or anything else that is sensitive, I am still saying it in a way that regard people as human beings. Like, I'm not, I just feel like sometimes people assume that, oh, because you feel this way, that means you hate me, or that means you can't have fun with, not have fun, but that means you can't have a good time in my presence. Because no, like, I don't carry hate in my heart. Let's start there. I don't carry hate in my heart, and I don't really think about people so intimately that I am just so mad. What I do get upset over, though, is energy that's not spoken. And I think sometimes when people have a problem with me, is like they'll just like shift their energy. Like, there is, and I'm about to get into a topic that is definitely specific for Patreon. So at this point, you should be wrapping up with this free part of the episode. And if you want more, go ahead and become a patron, and I will see you there. All right. So there's this little somebody, let's just say in my proximity, who I know she has a problem with me. I know she has a problem with me. And I'm just going to keep on smiling at her bitch ass face. I'm just going to keep on smiling in her muffin ass face. And that was a little taste, a little salt at the tip of your tongue. If you would like to listen to the full episode, become a patron at patreon.com/godbuiltthis. See you there.